welcome to the CatchMark SportsNet podcast. My name is Zach Zweigle, and I'm your host. I'm joined by colleague Scott DeCamp, Mr. Scott, the vampire, and our fearless leader, Brent Raeth.
What's up, everybody? It's because Scott doesn't sleep.
No, you texted me first.
So I slept 8 hours last night.
Scott's been on board now for a couple months, and I'm beginning to think one thing. I think he's a vampire.
He is a vampire. He's got some
I really do. He lurks around in the daytime, doesn't come out a lot, and then, but he's up all night.
He's got some issues.
I think he's a vampire.
Yeah.
Billy, are we going to get you on air today?
Billy's going to ruin
We're going to
us
get Billy on air.
Billy, are we going to get you on air today?
Billy,
you got a big day. Let's start here. I want to start here. Billy, you've got a really big day today. What do you got going on today?
What do you mean I got a big day today?
You have a big day today.
Billy.
Come on.
Oh.
That's a huge day, Billy.
Yeah, no, yes. You're right. The trade deadline ends at 4 o'clock.
No. So we'll probably make some picks today, but the thing I want to concentrate on is the pick. Does Billy Mann win a seat in Whitehall City Council today? Zach?
Yeah.
Think
you
so?
know, in fact, I talked to a couple other people this morning, and just about the city council, nominations, and they were like, "Yeah, Billy's in my top 3."
I have a feeling Zach didn't vote for me.
I did vote for you. I joked
The
with
Dolphins
you.
guy.
I did vote for you, though.
Scott, what do you think? Does Billy win a seat?
What's the next topic?
I love
That's
it.
a little mean.
I still love you, Billy.
Billy, do you think you're going to win a seat?
I could win.
That's God. Michael Jordan, do you think you're going to win another NBA championship?
In all seriousness,
I think I could win.
I think some new blood would be good.
Yeah, I do too. So I'm going to ask you another question, since we're on this political topic, because I asked you a couple months ago, and you gave me a terrible political answer. Why are you running?
What do you mean? What was my answer a couple months ago?
You were just kind of like, I don't know. So why are you running?
I'm running because I've fallen in love with the town that I live in. I want to ensure that the place that we move for my children, which are growing up here, is continue to be a great place.
Now I can't vote for him. He's definitely a politician.
That's
now. That was pretty good.
Somebody's gotten to it.
That was legit.
Somebody's gotten to it.
Have you been getting lessons?
My wife is my campaign manager.
Yeah, there you go.
That's probably a really smart move. That's probably a really
true.
smart move. All right, I got Billy. He's going to come in third place in the votes, which should secure him a spot, right?
That would still.
I don't think he's going to top the vote list, but I think he's going to be. He's in the dance, I think.
Yeah.
I just hope I'm not in last place.
Well, yeah. I think we all hope that you were not in last place. But
Well, I think if you would have worn the Lions jersey instead, that might have got the sympathy vote.
yeah, the Dolphins.
No, I did go out for Halloween with the sign, and every person that put candy into my kid's bag, he said, "Thank you, vote Man City Council."
You had Liam doing that?
Yeah.
Come on, Billy.
See, he is a politician. He's got kids and babies. He's
Kids and babies.
good
You
Lord.
sure not going for mayor?
Right.
Good Lord.
Eventually.
All right, we should probably talk sports at some point today. So,
I guess so.
what do you think, Zach?
I guess so.
Should we talk some volleyball first or no?
No.
Okay,
No, we're
let's
good.
go football.
We do have some district volleyball action going on this week, though.
Yeah.
Specifically a Division II district in Spring Lake that we've been covering.
Whitehall.
We will covering.
I got Whitehall.
Whitehall, you know. Fruitport is still in it. Spring Lake is still in it. Whitehall's in it. Montague ended up losing.
Zach,
last
what do you
night.
like about Fruitport?
It's got a quality team, man.
Well coached too, right?
Yeah,
Fruitport's really well coached.
They have, their coach is a former All-American in Grand Valley.
Yeah, she was very good.
Awesome.
Very good. A lot of success there. A lot of tradition at that school.
Absolutely.
Fruitport and Whitehall are in the same district, though, right?
They are.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Did anybody else in there stand out other than Whitehall that you saw?
Oak Ridge isn't bad. You know, they gave Whitehall a few. I mean, Whitehall didn't lose, but they gave Whitehall a few good games earlier this year.
And then Spring Lake beat Montague last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Spring Lake looks good. They honestly do. You know, I don't think Montague played their best game, but Spring Lake looks solid. You know, I'm excited. I think that tomorrow and Thursday should be pretty good matchups.
Yeah.
You think Whitehall takes it down, though, right?
I do.
I mean, they look pretty good
Yeah.
there when I saw them, but
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that they will they'll come out with it.
you gonna go watch?
Yeah, Scott and I are covering the game together. We're going to try it for the first time. We've never covered a game together.
Which team
On
are
Thursday, possibly, right?
Correct.
You're going to cover it together?
On
Yeah.
Thursday, possibly,
good
if it's the
Lord.
right
Both
matchup.
of you.
Yeah. So we can do a video, and Scott can write a novel and a half.
What am I going to be writing
Is
about,
this,
Zach?
is this gold?
Hopefully a Homer victory.
Is this gold coverage or is this bronze?
It depends.
We
on
better
Zach.
bring gold.
If we're
There's
both
a
in
lot
the
at
same-
stake, Scott.
If
So,
we're both in
There
the
is.
same spot, it's going to be gold.
all right, both in the same spot. It's gold. All right, that's good. That's good.
Let's move on to football. Come on, that's the big ticking time bomb here. Last week we had some interesting matchups. What score out of all the playoff games, the first round playoff games, or what game caught your attention? What game surprised you?
The one that caught my attention immediately, well, there was two that really jumped out to me. One was Mona Shores 31, Forest Hills Central 7. The other one was Whitehall 40, Sparta 20. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought both of those games would go right down to the wire, and they both took care of business in a big way. That was impressive. And I said this last week on the podcast, and I believe on the First and 10 show. So if Shores can tighten up that defense, they got a chance to make a run, and that's certainly what they did. They were shorthanded, and they still tightened up that defense, and they put on a show.
Yeah. Who were they down? There was
Here-
defensive backs, right?
A couple
Corners.
quarterbacks were out with apparently some contact tracing going on there. So
Oh, they were out for the game?
they were out for the game.
Oh, really?
And one of
Are
them
they still?
one of them's their top receiver, so he didn't play.
Oh,
And they held Forest Hills Central to 48 yards rushing.
Oh,
Which
that's awesome.
Forest Hills Central's got a really nice team, and
Yeah.
they just kind of took it right to them on their field.
That's
Says
great.
something.
Yeah.
Says something. That's for sure.
I was a little surprised by North Muskegon,
Yeah.
Ravenna. I thought Ravenna was going to really, and not because North Muskegon's not a good team, but because the injuries from North Muskegon, So I was a little surprised at the end of the night when it was as close as it was. I don't know if that speaks more about the depth of North Muskegon or maybe I didn't see the game, but I was a little surprised by that one
Yeah,
as well.
for sure. I mean, you were
I
there,
covered
right?
it. Yeah, I mean, Ravenna's a little shorthanded too. Now, granted,
Yeah.
North Muskegon was out, their quarterback and running back, and they've been out for a while. Ravenna's out, probably arguably their top offensive lineman, and sounds like he's not coming back. He got hurt in the Oak Ridge game, so they play Catholic this week, and we'll get to that. But yeah, Ravenna, they scored on the 5th play of the game, so I'm thinking that they're going to run away with this
You're right.
maybe. But there was no more scoring in the game until 1 minute left when North Muskegon scored on a 3rd and goal, and they went for 2 and didn't get it. But then they got the onside kick, which is executed flawlessly.
Yeah.
It was perfect onside.
So they got it back?
They got it back
Oh,
again.
man.
An amazing.
They had 2 cracks from like the 35, 2 passes late that fell incomplete, but they were right there.
Yeah.
What a
I
low
guess.
scoring game.
They're
7-6.
young.
You don't see that very often
Not
anymore.
really.
Back in the
Especially
day,
around here.
yeah, back in the day when there was a little more T-run and some of that stuff, you'd see some low-scoring games. But to go for 2 and then to get that's pretty good.
North Muskegon's young. You're going to hear from them next year when they go to the new divisions too in the conference.
Yeah.
They're going to be the front runner, I think, in that side. Ravenna will be on that side too, so there should be some more good battles between those two.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. 2 good teams though. Whitehall Sparta. That's another one that caught your attention. You said, and I had the opportunity to cover that game. Just with Whitehall, it seems like they come out in two different ways. Right? Like one way, it's the battle we saw against Oak Ridge where they just they couldn't move the ball and they struggled.
Yep.
It seems in a lot of different ways. And then we see a team that played against Montague where they have so many different weapons.
Yeah.
And they're utilizing everybody and. It was the same type of thing, right? Like Reed City, they just struggled. I mean, they looked like they'd never played a good team before, and then against Sparta, they just
Dominated.
They really did. The Sparta jumped out to a super quick lead. The same running back had I think it was the first 10 plays of the game. I don't quote me on that, but they just kept running him, and he was unstoppable. They scored on their first drive right away. And I was a little concerned. Like, how are they going to respond? How's Whitehall going to respond to this? And they got another defensive stop a little later in the first quarter, and then they just started exploding.
Who's the best player for Whitehall, you think?
I think that there's a lot to be said about the sophomore quarterback
Kyle played well.
And just because he's the one that's moving the ball, he's the one that's carrying the ball and creating those opportunities. Right?
I mean, I thought he played excellent against Montague, and it was a huge difference maker. So it doesn't surprise me, but. Yeah, I mean, like we talked about that last week, guys. Like, which Whitehall team shows up? Because if the good one shows up, they're good, right? Like, it's just that consistency. I was glad to see that they took care of business, and hopefully that bodes well for what Tony's got him going, what he's got him doing in the playoffs.
One thing I noticed about Stratton, about Whitehall in general, is it seems like as the season's gone on, those veteran players around him have put more and more trust in him, and instead of maybe him coming in and everyone looking at him like, I don't know about this young guy.
Sure.
Now they lift him up after he gets knocked down, and they're celebrating with him. I mean, it seems like they've really adopted him, so to speak, as their own. They've really taken him in and kind of said, "Yeah, he's our guy."
Is Jenkins out for the whole year?
So
I heard he was trying to come back.
Yeah,
so
he was. I can't. He hasn't yet. He was actually on the stat sheet last week, which was super interesting. I don't know if you remember seeing that or not. It was
I did see that.
It was an error, I believe, because I didn't see. He wasn't even dressed when I saw him.
Well, wasn't the Runnington game when our guy Pruitt had number 15 jersey?
Yeah. If you were his dad, would you let him come back?
That's a tough call. You got a full ride to U of M on a wrestling scholarship. I mean,
I heard that he's not coming. I heard he's not going to. That they're shutting it down. But that's a tough one because that when he dressed for the Montague game, I think a lot of people were surprised. But then you watch him warm up and he wasn't doing things at full capacity.
Right.
Like, well, maybe it's just so he can dress for senior night and all that stuff. But I thought there was a chance he would come back.
So did I.
I mean, I know that probably had the other team thinking, what? Because you look at him, he fills out a uniform.
You two should run for office. Should he? If you were his dad, would you let him come back?
I think that's a decision that's up to him. I honestly do. If it was my kid, I would absolutely sit down with him and ask him what he wanted to do, what he thought was best. It's his scholarship. It's everything he's worked for. If he wants to, jeopardize it. So
Good punt, Zach. So if he asked you what your advice was, what would you tell him if he was your kid?
I would tell him that he should do whatever he wants to do.
Scott, what would you do?
Serious.
I'm on the same page with Zach on that one.
That's a tough one. Isn't it? I mean, that's a legit tough question.
It's tough because, there's a lot you could lose, but just because he plays and comes back doesn't mean he's going to hurt it worse or ruin his opportunity.
Yeah, you'd hate to see him come back and get hurt again and then not be able to wrestle or do something like that. But
and the other side of it is we don't know exactly where he's at on his recovery path, right? Like, are the doctors saying he's 100% or is he 80? We just don't know.
Yeah.
So there's other,
Yeah, I just hate to see him rush it back. Like I think if he's 100%, I would say play, but if he's not, then I'd say hold out.
I'm of the belief too that on the flip side of that you only get these chances to play high school sports. It's a limited time.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't get that back. Once that's gone, it's gone.
Boy, it'd be awful tempting if they make a good run and they get to the regional final
absolutely.
and to be sitting out and be like, man, I could come back. They could use me. I was an athlete in high school. I think I would be tempted to push it and come back.
I agree.
So.
What a unique situation to be in, though. Like a D1, D1 scholarship.
Of course, it was all hypothetical about being an athlete in high school. There's no offers there. So, awesome. Yeah.
We talked a little bit earlier about the low-scoring game, Ravenna North Muskegon. How about Heights Holton?
Holy cow!
Points in one game.
I thought that was a misprint. When I saw it online, I was like, what the heck? No way that's the score. That's nuts.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
was there zero defense played in that game? Or, that had to have been what it was.
Defense was optional, and it was a 4-hour game by the sounds of it. But I don't know how long it was really, but Mike Meekoff, our friend here on the show, he and on our at CatchMark here, he covered it and said that it just literally took forever. It was just going on. And
well, with that many scores, you're kicking all the time.
66-42, over 1,000 yards between the two teams. Just crazy. And it's cool for Muskegon Heights, getting that. It was their first home game, they say, maybe ever, which I still find hard to believe that, because they've had some good teams going like that.
Yeah, that still surprises me.
Sure. But, to get that win when they had no season last year and they were 0-9 the year before, 1-8 the year before that, something like that. It's just good for the community, good for the kids. Holton, too, they did a good job. Alex Smith, first-year head coach there, had him playing competitively, after that opening loss to Hart. So, it's cool. Just good. It's good for the county, I think, to showcase two teams like that and have a fun game like that, even though I think I wrote the story in my lead, and it was I think the only person who worked harder than the players on the field was the scoreboard operator.
Yeah, no kidding.
Because they're just...
No kidding. It had to be the whole time, right? That's so many touchdowns.
It's a lot of
between that and the chain gang, they were probably running up and down the sideline all day.
So many points. Just crazy. Crazy. Another, a couple other Muskegon area highlights. Montague, Brent, you went to,
I
the
did.
Montague game, and last week we kind of talked about how we expected them to take care of business, and they obviously did that. What was the status of Central Montcalm?
Central Montcalm came out and they looked like they were going to play pretty hard, but you see that often in high school sports, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're amped up, you get a good series. Montague did kind of just take care of business. I feel the same way about Montague that I feel about Whitehall this year a little bit. Like when Montague's hitting on all cylinders, they look really good. When they're not, they're gonna beat bad teams and win those games that they're supposed to. But like when they start, like Reed City, I could see them going in and beating Reed City, and I could see them also if the other Montague shows up, the one that it's not hitting screen passes and just not playing tight. I could see them getting beat by 2-3 scores in that game too. So that's kind of what the game was like to me. Like they had a few plays. I mean, Dylan Everett had some monster runs. The very first touchdown he scored, I mean, Dylan dragged like half Central Montcalm's team into the end zone. And there were some good plays here and there, but they just didn't look sharp at times too. You know what I mean? And they're good enough to kind of run away with that one. I'm interested to see how this week goes. So it should be a good game. Again, to me it's just like with Whitehall. Like if they're playing well, they're gonna beat some teams, and they got a good shot to go deep too. If they don't though, I could see them getting bounced this week. I could see them getting bounced the week after. You know what I mean? It wouldn't surprise me either way, I guess is what I would say. So, a bunch of the former players were in the stands Friday night. It was kind of cool. Drew Collins and a bunch of the guys. I can't remember his name now. Big old lineman.
Walker Martin.
Walker Martin. Thank you. Walker was there. There's a bunch of them there, kind of rooting him on. I don't know if there's a little nerves at the start or what, but
that's got to be a weird feeling for those guys. You come back to Montague and they've been such a part of that program for so long on the field that you come back and you watch from the stands. That's got to be a weird feeling for them.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, you think about it. All of those guys. I mean, they were up as freshmen, sophomores. I mean, how many games have they played there and won? But at the same time, a little relaxing. It's a different perspective. You get to sit in the stands and watch.
For sure.
And relax a little. It's not all on your shoulders.
Yeah,
and kind of
true.
So it was a good atmosphere. Kind of crappy weather. It just rained a little bit, and the crowd wasn't huge. So. Did
Owen Peterson play or no?
He suited up. He was on the sideline. He did. If he did go in the game, it wasn't very much, which I think is smart, right? Like they figured they're going to win that game pretty easily, and why risk hurting him if you can have him for the remainder of the season?
I think he could provide a lift. I mean, provided he's healthy, too. I think he can provide a nice lift for them.
I still
agree.
Yeah, I still think everything for Montague, it's really lays on Cooey's shoulders. If he plays good, they're tough. If he has an off game and he's missing passes, then their offense just misfires. Right?
I've had a couple people bring this up to me about Reed City.
Okay.
I haven't seen them. You did.
Mm-hmm.
But they said they remind them an awful lot of Oak Ridge.
Yeah.
Which, if you look what happened, Whitehall loses to Reed City by 10.
Montague
They lost
beats.
to Oak Ridge by 13.
Yeah.
Montague beats Oak Ridge by 26. I'm not saying Montague's going to beat Reed City by that margin, but a lot of it's about matchups. And I think what Montague can do is spread the ball around, get guys in space. I just wonder if that could cause some problems for Reed City.
Well, saying that though, Scott, you might be onto something, because Whitehall scored against Oak Ridge eventually, right? Like that was a tighter ball game, but they really had trouble stopping. And Oak Ridge runs a version of the T, right? Like at times, and so same thing with Reed City. Whitehall put points on the board.
Yeah.
They just had trouble stopping. Montague's been pretty good against the wing T, and I could see that. Montague's going to score, I think, against Reed City, and if they have better luck defensively like they did with Oak Ridge, again, I could see them winning by 2-3 scores. I could also see, watching the scores, I'm not going to be surprised either way, which is unusual being from Montague. Usually this early in the playoffs, you're kind of like, once you get regionals and you just start like, okay, they're going to run into somebody good. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Well, they moved the ball against Portland too. They just didn't finish with points.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like that was the first thing Justin said when I talked to him after that game was the score didn't reflect how well we played. How close the game actually was. And obviously, we didn't get a chance to go to that game, but I mean, there's a lot to be said about that. If Justin can honestly say that about his team and their performance, if he can take that type of defeat and take something positive out of it, I think they must have played pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's getting more comfortable too. I watching Friday night, he was very much more vocal than I saw him earlier in the season. Like he's getting into some kids, and Justin's not a loud guy by any means normally, like pretty reserved dude, and it was good to see. Like he's getting after it. So
it is nice. It's definitely nice we've talked about this a ton, but to come into Montague, football city USA, and fill those shoes like.
Well, and from being from outside, right? Like
Absolutely.
So
what a tough challenge. So, and we kind of talked about this a little bit, but what games coming up this week, are like stand out to you? Which games could potentially there be an upset? Which ones would you like to be at if you could, if you could pick any, or if you could be more than one place at a time?
Yeah, I wish I could see. There's a handful of them I'd like to see.
Agree,
honestly,
yeah.
There are.
I just, I'm covering Montague Reed City. That was selected as our game of the week. I think it could be a good one.
Yep.
I think Whitehall Cadillac has potential to be a very good one.
Yep.
I'd like to see Mona Shores and Caledonia go at it. We are sending one of our rookie reporters.
Who's going?
Jeff Burrell.
Oh, Burrell.
Yeah.
Jeff Burrell and his sidekick.
The Panda.
That's right.
Panda's on the move.
The husband-wife team are going to cover that one.
That's a dangerous team.
That is a dangerous team.
They're
That's
going over to Granville to cover that for us. So.
That should be a good game.
Yep.
What's up with the neutral location? I guess I don't understand.
The field, Caledonia, I think they're the only team in the OK Red to have natural grass, and I guess their field's just torn up. So they wanted to move it just to give it a nice playing surface for that game against Mona Shores.
Yeah, this time of year, as much rain as we got too, that makes sense.
Yeah,
but so that one, switching over to Cadillac Whitehall. I mean, again, Meekoff said that he had to send a reporter up to Fruitport Cadillac, and the reporter's impression of this was that he thinks that Whitehall could get them pretty good. Now, could get Cadillac pretty well, just because Fruitport hung all the way through from beginning to end. Fruitport played Cadillac 28-12, lost 28-12 in week 2. This time it was 42-35. Now, what does that mean?
Right.
I don't know, but this person's opinion thinks that the way Whitehall's looking, or the way they could potentially play, that they could have some success up there.
Yeah, I think Whitehall will get them. I honestly, again though, like which Whitehall? If last week's Whitehall shows up, the Whitehall against Montague, I think they get them. But Scott, I'm a little surprised you didn't Ravenna Muskegon Catholic.
Right. Everyone knows where I'm from, right? That I'm a Ravenna guy, Ravenna girl.
Where?
Yeah, Ravenna. Is it Ravenna or Ravenna? Now,
you're from there. I don't know.
People from Ravenna call it Ravenna, even though it's spelled Ravenna. Dusty Fairfield, the longtime coach there, still says Ravenna. He said, the funny thing is, he always told us, educated people say Ravenna. So I guess me included, I guess there aren't too many educated people from there.
So you don't think that's going to be close, though?
I like what I've seen from Ravenna. The only time they didn't really compete this year was against Whitehall. But that game was 7-0 into the second quarter, and then there's a couple turnovers and it got away from them. Now, they lost to Montague, but it was 14-7. They were right
they played
there.
great against Montague.
That was a crazy game.
That was a great game.
Oak Ridge, they were down 36-7 or something at the half, and they came back and tied it and had a chance to win. I mean, credit to them. I mean, they came back, but then in that game, though, they lost, like I said earlier, one of their top linemen. And so they were down a couple players, a couple starters Friday. And I think they need all hands on deck to legitimately knock off Muskegon Catholic. Muskegon Catholic's a good team. Are they a great Muskegon Catholic team?
You just love Zerwin, and you love Catholic.
Are we going down that public-private route again? Or
no, I wasn't going to touch on that today.
Not today.
Unless you guys want to talk about that.
We need to have Mr. Zerwan in to have that discussion sometime.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
We honestly should.
So I don't know. I think that if you look at Ravenna's 3 losses, they're to pretty good teams, and they've hung in everything. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a game. Like I don't think Catholic's going to run away with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, like recently, right? Like Oak Ridge and Catholic Central went at it. Tight,
right down to the wire.
Ravenna. I mean, they're all.
Oh, and they certainly could. I mean,
right.
Yeah. It's just Muskegon Catholics. They've been.
It's at Catholic.
Yeah, they're an experienced team. They're tough up front. There's a lot of things pointing towards Catholic, but again, I mean, these Ravenna kids have played hard all
Yeah.
year, so you just
like
don't know what they're gonna. What maybe scares
If you're
me.
not
is-
going to root for your home school, I don't. So
what scares me is that was what I saw, how they struggled a little bit against North Muskegon. That's no knock on North Muskegon.
Yeah,
but
no,
I was
no.
expecting a little more of a
couple
of
score
a
win.
convincing victory
Yeah,
than that,
yeah. No,
in that particular matchup.
Yeah. You think Heights pulls it off this week? They win again? No.
And that's a rematch from I guess I can't remember exactly.
2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, a few weeks.
What was the
ago.
score? I didn't even look at it.
Maybe
41-14.
Yeah, it was a blowout for
Yep.
sure. So I don't think that they will. I think that the fact that they won this week was impressive. That was one of those games last week that I was a little bit. I gave Heights the advantage. I was a little bit up in the air on them.
Yeah.
So.
Was that the one I picked wrong? You
No,
two
you
went
picked
12-0, didn't you?
You picked Spring Lake.
You two went 12-0 last week, though,
We
didn't
did.
you?
Along
So
with
did- so did your wife.
So did Kara.
Which
I
is,
could have gone without knowing that.
Spring Lake. I mean that score kind of surprised me.
Well,
too.
they were
I
up
didn't expect-
28-17.
Oh, I didn't.
Right?
I didn't really even see it. What was this? What was that ended up
Was
being?
it 48-28, something like that?
Really?
They were up 28-17 or something like that,
And lost.
and lost.
Kind of reminds me of
Yeah,
Michigan.
just crazy. Okay, yeah, 48.
Sorry, I didn't. It's a little too early.
soon?
Too soon.
48-24 is the final.
Oh, okay.
And Grand Rapids Christian, I mean, is like clearly a pretty good football team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's some. But back on that topic, because we got to discuss it just a little bit.
Yeah.
Michigan State. There's some salty Michigan fans in terms of the officials. They think the officials cost them.
Oh, buddy, there
Yeah.
are. It was going.
I was content with a Sparty win.
Which are you? Like,
I'm a band.
state yourself.
I did.
What
Wear
are you-
a-
Are you?
I wore a Michigan.
You're a
State
fence
sweatshirt on
rider.
Saturday.
You ride the fence a little bit.
I do. I don't. I think that a lot of people like where do you develop your passion for which team, right? I would
Yeah.
say a lot of people would say their family,
Yeah.
and
That's
I don't
right.
come from a family that's extremely one way or the other.
Yeah.
Always loved watching Michigan State basketball growing up. We've always liked watching Michigan football. When they've been
Right.
really good. So it's one of those things where I don't have.
So like 30 years
overall-
ago, you like watching it.
Okay, listen.
All right, I'm taking that's low blow. Sorry,
But I
I'm
like
gonna
own
get hate
apparel.
mail.
I own apparel from both for both teams. Like that's
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
that's how in the middle I am.
But man, that scene on campus, because I was there tailgating,
It was wild.
it was just getting in there into campus was
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like we met at the Lowell Park and Ride, me and some friends at like 6:30 in the morning, and that might have not been early enough because we parked probably about a mile away from there and just hiked the rest of it.
So after a full week of covering sports,
No,
you
it is. I submitted my final story. Scott's my copy editor. Scott, everything that I published, Scott looks over. I submitted my final work with a video and my story at 3:42 a.m. It was published at 4:24 a.m. by Scott DeCamp.
I went to bed though before that.
Okay, I mean,
he's a
whatever.
vampire.
Yeah,
I'm not.
say whatever
He is.
wants. The guy doesn't sleep. He literally doesn't sleep. It's wild.
And then you were at the game on Saturday
Yeah.
at noon. You were there
You just
well
heard
before.
Wait, there's a story behind it. I wasn't at the game. I was tailgating. I went to Dunham's when was it Wednesday night? You know those no gravity chairs that recline they're like lawn
Yeah.
chairs that recline all the way back.
You slept in the.
I brought my binky. I had a pillow. I had the pillow blanket, everything. I had the hookup, man.
his big.
Scott, you are in your 40s. You're not in your 20s anymore. Like you can't. You're not gonna hold on that much longer, man. Like you gotta rest your body.
Kind of like my hairline's not
I
holding
don't
on,
know
is
how
that
you
what
do
mean?
it, man. Like I can't.
With you.
I can't
No,
do
but
it.
it was cool because we set up a tailgate, and I was planning on taking a nap if I had to, like going in someone's truck and napping,
Yeah.
or just we had a canopy set up, we had the flat screen set up, and then my buddy's hitch. You put the hitch in,
Yeah.
and you got it all mounted in there. It was pretty sweet.
Sounds
You know,
awesome. What's wrong with your backyard?
That's true. We were on campus. That is a good point.
Campus, the environment's kind of cool.
The environment's cool. We walked around
What did you do?
campus.
I washed it on my deck around my solo stove. Kara didn't have any marshmallows this time, but
Someone had one of those solo stoves a couple tailgates
They were
over. I
great.
go, those are sweet.
Yeah.
So you could just pack them up and take them, right?
I was just yeah, you can pick them up. Some of them are bigger. Ours is a big dog. Like but yeah, you can pick it up. It sits on wood. It sits on you can put it anywhere. The only thing you got to watch is above it, because it gets it burns hot, real hot. So
You're not gonna want to put a canopy over that thing.
no, definitely not unless it's metal.
TP.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So we were sitting on the deck. I grilled some steaks and we just sat out there and watched the game.
Super
The
cool.
whole neighbors heard me yelling and screaming and I thought Sparties were done at halftime. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
man, there's no way
I
Michigan
think
blows.
everybody kind
Well,
of
they got outplayed in a lot of ways, and they made some mistakes. And credit, McNamara, he played great. He looked like
Oh,
Joe
he did. He
Montana
played
out
great,
there.
man.
was insane.
He played phenomenal, and I'd be a little ticked if I was him that they keep bringing in McCarthy and then
what did he throw for like almost 400 yards? And
he had the game of his life.
Yeah.
And another sidelight here is that Andrew Anthony, number 1 for Michigan, he played against Mona Shores last year. I covered him. Mona Shores shut him right down. He didn't. I don't know if he might have had a couple catches in that game.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything against them really, and then he lights it up at Spartan Seaman in his first real meaningful action.
Kind of cool.
If you'd have told me before the game that McNamara was going to throw for darn near 400 yards, I'd been like, there is no way State's winning that game. But then to watch it, I was like, I mean, they sold out to stop the run, and they like defensively. I thought Michigan State just played with grit. I mean, it's the first time I've seen them where they played like when D'Antonio was there. Like, they wanted it worse.
And how have they been? All year they've been, it's kind of truly been a bend but don't break. They're going to give up a lot of yards to a lot of teams. This Purdue game, like as an MSU alum, that game scares me to death this Saturday. Because
letdown game.
Seriously, I think D'Antonio kind of knocked that out of them where it used to be they'd beat Michigan and then they'd lay an egg the next week. I don't know if we have that as much. I think Purdue's dangerous. They could lose that game for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, how about Kenneth Walker, though? I mean, how special is that dude?
That guy is amazing. Like, he's legit. So, Coach D was there, I saw.
Yeah, did you see the video of him watching, like, when they were celebrating? He's just standing there, back to the camera. He's just kind of just sitting there like a proud father, just admiring it all.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool.
I see that. That's pretty cool.
That was really cool.
Super cool.
Real cool. So
heck of a game, though.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, from either side, could you ask for...
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, so, razzing my Michigan fan friends after the game, but still on top of that, there's a couple comments. I'm like, this is a great game. Yeah. I mean, like, you couldn't, regardless of who won the game, you couldn't ask for anything more. 2 top 10 teams, the Big Ten doing really well, and just, I mean, everything was great. I thought it was awesome. So
yeah, I totally agree. I went to Grand Rapids Studio Park, and they just have a big outdoor screen where we were all hanging out. And I remember in the second half, like, we were trying to play cornhole, and I couldn't even take my eyes off the screen. I was like, I can't even play them. This is nuts. So yeah.
Did you have some CatchMark cornhole boards out there? Did Jeff Burrell hook you up?
That guy's just stingy with his boards.
You think with a guy that's a partner in CatchMark, that's a partner in Michigan Cornhole League, you'd get some decent boards out there.
Think, I might have to.
You think he's going to set the boards at Granville this Friday? At that Mona Shores,
I doubt it. He might. He would try. Yeah. He's actually probably got something already in the works for halftime or something. if I know Jeff at all, like
he has something set up.
Yeah, he's got something going on. So did he request the Granville game? I thought he requested.
No, he was open. He's open wherever because we thought about Catholic Urbana.
He's a bit of a prima donna. I mean, like, I would think he'd want the best game. Of course, first game he covers. Well, I know he covered one other.
He kind of was shying away from Ravenna Catholic because he felt he would have had to run into Matt Parker if he would have gone to the Ravenna game.
That's dangerous. So, he wants to avoid that for sure.
Oh, Matt and I might have had a little banter online after the game Saturday.
Oh, I'm sure banter, is that what you call it? Banter?
Banter, kind words to each other. We've been friends for a long time,
So is this a good segue to talk about another Block M? You go from one Block M to another, Muskegon. We haven't talked about the Big Reds yet.
Powerhouse.
Oh, yeah, got to. Yeah, I think for me, like, I think they look great. To me, this game, this is going to be I think they're going to win. I mean, again, all the teams are pretty good once you start getting past second, third, rounds. But Muskegon, again, when I said great about the Sparties, that's how Muskegon looked to me against Mona Shores. I feel like they want it bad. It's going to need to be a great team to take it from them, in my opinion. But
and they were shorthanded against Lowell. I think they had some kids out with some contact tracing or whatever. And let's face it, that stuff's going around a little bit with Mona Shores dealing with it, and now Muskegon. But they still got the job done against Lowell. They've got it. They got Cedar Springs coming in, which is a familiar playoff opponent for them. Cedar Springs, they've got 2 losses, one to Rockford, which is an undefeated Division I school. And they lost by 1 point to Grand Rapids Catholic. It might have been overtime. But any team that can play that Grand Rapids Catholic that tight's got to be pretty legit.
It's true. That's true. I think they are. They're a sleeper, if you will. I think that they are a dangerous team. But I think that the home field advantage for Muskegon. It's a Saturday game. Yep. They'll be well rested. I give that to Muskegon too, 100%. I can't like you mentioned a couple times. You can't pick against them.
You can't. No.
They're at home. They're on that fast track again. And I think what I'm really looking forward to is if they can get past this one next week, because it's looking like a Muskegon DeWitt, and those games are just wars. DeWitt,
I can't remember. DeWitt dropped a game earlier this year to somebody that I was
Portland.
Portland, and I was just like, Like I was so.
I can't wrap my head around it. I can't figure that one out. I know it's a rivalry. At least Portland takes that really seriously. I still can't fathom that.
Billy was over here chuckling. Billy, what are you laughing about earlier?
What are you laughing at, Billy?
He was laughing about something.
Not laughing.
I think Billy might have almost fell asleep.
Was it my soda?
No, you can hear the soda pop.
That's that's part of the realism.
That's true.
CatchMark SportsNet podcast brought to you by Diet Mountain Dew.
There you go.
True.
Man, if we could land that, we'd all be sitting nice.
I don't know if you're laughing because you saw the poll results coming in already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in dead last.
Come on, Billy. Come on, Billy.
Yeah, no, I think again, Muskegon is just they remind me of their coach, and I don't know that I'd bet against Shane in a fight. To be honest with you, so and so I think he's gonna have them ready. They know they've been down this road, they know the road, and they just look gritty. Like nothing stands out, nothing looks flashy to me about them. But man, I wouldn't want to play them.
And it's so true. You look at their stats. I get their stats every week when we're including them in the roundup or writing about them. It's true. I mean, they've got, and it seems like you got Destin Piggy and you got Jake Price, and they each get like 4 or 5 carries for like 100 and some yards.
Yeah.
It seems like every week, but it's just, it's not like they're a flashy team like you
Right.
said. It's not like they're throwing the ball all over the field.
No.
They're putting it up in the air a little bit, but they just get it done in a lot of different ways. Obviously, with a physical. They play physical football.
Yeah.
And like you said, they play with that chip, kind of like their coach has.
I just can't get. I like you bringing up those two names. I can't get over that they are sophomores.
I know.
I mean, that's just like the fact that we're going to be reading those two names.
Yeah, for 2 more years.
Another 2 more years just like blows my mind.
The fact that every year there's 2 names like that at Muskegon,
true.
like that's what blows my mind. Like you're like, where do they keep coming from? Like they've just got talent all the way around across the board, and and Shane does a great job getting these kids to buy into what he's doing and moving them forward. I mean, I think it's pretty amazing to watch. So
can you imagine and you think about, I mean, a lot of teams can say this. You say, well, we got this kid hurt. Can you imagine if, like Whitehall, can you imagine if the 2 bookend defensive ends played? Right. Muskegon, they've got, Demetrius Walker, the young man who had the cancer battle and had the titanium rod put in his knee area. Really sad story, but just a tremendous kid. His smile is just lights up a room. I really enjoyed writing about him with them live and just kept that relationship going. And he's just, can you imagine though, with that kid, like 6'5", 260, having him out on the field, defensive end running around too. I mean, so really, and they got a really young team, 8 sophomores / freshmen running around out there. I mean, that's impressive what they've done with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
So one of the things I've noticed, and I guess maybe it's just because I'm getting older, maybe I didn't realize it. When I was a kid watching football, it didn't seem like as many kids got brought up to the varsity as they do now. Even you look at Montague, there's quite a few underclassmen that are on the varsity now, but also that contributed to last year's team and the year before that, where they were bringing guys up as freshmen and sophomores. I just don't feel like that happened a lot when I was a kid. Am I off on that, or is that more of a youth movement where coaches are a little more ready or willing to do that now?
I think you're seeing that more. I don't remember seeing it as much either, unless a kid was truly special. Not that these kids aren't good. Of course they're good, but I wonder if the prevalence of travel ball, and now granted it's not like you have a travel football league. They play 7-on-7 and stuff, but travel basketball. I wonder if all those playing all these high level things like that in the off season, if that matures kids quicker, so they get out and play this varsity stuff, and they don't care. It's just no big deal.
I don't know. I always felt physically like they were. You look at a freshman kid, and there can be a big difference between a freshman kid and a senior kid.
Yeah.
I mean, even that same kid, right, from freshman to senior. But I don't know. I know last year Pat had a bunch of kids on the Montague team that were underclassmen. I mean, Isaac Jarko was I think he was a sophomore. He was a sophomore or freshman last year. Owen Peterson, they're a big part of their team were underclassmen last year. Same thing again this year. So I don't know. It just seems.
Even when I was in high school, which 10 years ago, right? I don't remember there being that many kids.
Yeah, you'd see 1 or 2, and they, like you said, Scott, they were like the Benny Clarks and the, just the. Rarely would you ever see a freshman, and then the kids that did go up were usually sophomores. Right?
You see it in the smaller schools, James Young, North Muskegon quarterback. you've seen it. You know, it's very rare at a school like even Muskegon. Miles Walton, their quarterback now, he's a 4-year varsity starter. Very rare 4-year varsity start. He didn't play quarterback all 4 years, but he started at cornerback, and he was a really good return man. So, but that's a real rarity. You just don't see that, especially at a school Muskegon or bigger.
Yeah. No, I mean, and like I said, I'm thinking back to '92 when Pat was the quarterback of that team. They were upperclassmen heavy. I remember that. Like most of the guys on that team graduated or graduated the next year. Like, yeah. I mean, and when the playoffs come, they'll bring some kids up, right? But like playing all season,
that's different than a starting position.
Yeah, I mean, you look around the conference right now. You got Kyle Stratton, a sophomore, starting in Whitehall. You got Young, who would be the starter all year long at North Muskegon as a freshman, right? Like, I mean, they're two.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, they're two good teams, and like, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely noteworthy. You know, I think that in general, like kids are like, it seems like they're growing up faster. You know, like it seems like they're more ready, and some of that's due to advancements in training.
Yeah, they hit weights earlier. I think they're doing that kind of stuff, so maybe physically they're a little better.
Yeah, so it's probably a combination. You know, of a lot of
How much does social media play into things too? Now, granted, that doesn't mean they're going to be prepared for varsity sports, but like relationships, like I did that Hope College thing, right?
Yeah.
On the kids from the White Lake area, or just from the West Michigan Conference actually, and it was really cool to see kind of the dynamic between them all. But the point was brought up, like back when maybe we went to high school, you hated the other school and you didn't know the kids as much. But I think kids know each other now more so, probably because of social media. It just seems like they know each other a little more. It doesn't mean they don't dislike them and want to beat them on the field, but I wonder how much social media plays in.
So you're thinking maybe that coaches at a higher level, so the varsity coaches are actually catching wind of these kids a little bit sooner than maybe and knowing them better.
Maybe they're just more savvy is maybe the word for it.
Could be.
Maybe.
I mean, I think I would say you look around the West Michigan Conference, like again back when I was in school, there was White Lake football. Right. There wasn't Montague football. There wasn't. All my kids came up through travel football at Montague. I mean, you're playing on the big field. It is a Montague program playing. I think probably some of that has to do with it as well. I mean, I think it's probably better coaching overall. The whole 9 yards. So maybe that has something to do with it too.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really think it's a multitude of things. It can't just be one thing. Right?
No.
Sports are almost year round now. Almost all of them are.
Yeah.
If you wanted to prioritize basketball year round, or you could. There's leagues all the time, and there's always training, and there's all kinds of stuff. Not to mention the supplement stuff and the weight room stuff.
Yeah.
And the guides. I don't know. There's a lot to be said about that, though, for sure. It's an interesting point.
No, just something came up.
Yeah, for sure. One team that we haven't talked about, a lot is Oak Ridge. They had a big win against Big Rapids last week, and they're moving on to face Howard City Tri-County, who is 8-1, I believe.
What conference are they in?
9-1 rather.
You're setting that one up, aren't you?
I was trying not to.
I almost fell for it.
Zach, what conference are they in?
Well, let's let him say it.
I'm not sure.
You want me to remind you or not?
Who do you have in this game, Zach? We'll find out the conference right away.
I'll look that up.
Yeah, I'm. There's just no right answer to this. There's not. I did myself a giant hole. Oak Ridge. I gotta go Oak Ridge.
So CSAA.
Yeah.
He's showing his anti-CSAA opinion or attitude again.
Yeah.
I like Oak Ridge, but not because I hate the CSAA.
Right.
I don't know much about Howard City. I mean, I guess fill me in, guys.
Well, I mean, honestly, they have a really good record.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying anything else. We're gonna spiral.
I can tell you a little bit about him.
Go ahead, Scott.
Phil Butler is their coach. He was a quarterback there. He was a quarterback at Hope College.
Seriously, how do you know all of this stuff?
Yeah,
because I never sleep, so I'm always researching.
That's true. You are a vampire. You're a vampire.
Vampires have.
You've been around for you're probably 300 years old.
Vampires have supernatural powers too, right?
Yeah.
So no, it's
So they good team. I mean, they beaten anybody notable.
He's done a great job with them, but. I mean, they don't see the competition. They did Reed City. They played Reed City. They lost to them, of course, but that was their only loss. Was Reed City. I don't recall. I think it was within 1 or 2 touchdowns, if I remember correctly.
So they played them tough. They're probably a decent team.
I think they're a decent team. I still like Oak Ridge. All things considered, if Oak Ridge plays like Oak Ridge can, I like them.
Well, you have to say. I mean, for a small school playing in the West Michigan Conference, I mean, we talked about Ravenna and this week about playing Catholic. I mean, who's Ravenna's losses been to?
Right, good team.
Pretty friggin' good teams
Yeah.
in conference, right? Like North Muskegon's not a bad team.
No, by the
Like,
way, they beat Beale City, which hasn't lost outside of that Ravenna game.
Right.
Yeah. So like, no. So I mean, there is something to be said about the West Michigan Conference champ.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's a tough conference. So not anything against the CSAA, but like, West Michigan Conference is tough at the top. For
That's
sure,
all.
so.
That's all that I've been wanting to say.
I don't believe that, but
That's it. Nothing against CSA.
okay. So you guys got Oak Ridge on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I didn't know much about Howard City. I just didn't know they were from the CSAA, and so I assumed like
Yeah.
You really didn't know, or you actually?
Clueless.
Just-
I really didn't
Okay.
know. I knew what conference they were in, and I was poking the bear a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
So-
sounds about right. I think we should do picks. Can we go down the line?
Yeah, let's do it.
Shores, Caledonia. I have Shores in a close one.
I got Shores.
You're gonna have to wait till my picks come. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
jeez.
I'm going with Shores. I after last week, I can't go against them.
I think we may have a different game this week though. Like
Okay.
we might have one where we're
Okay.
different. I'm interested to
Let's
see.
go. Let's go
I'll
through
go
it.
first right now. Cedar Springs and Muskegon. I have Muskegon.
Muskegon.
Muskegon, but they're on upset alert.
Really?
Oh, really?
Really?
Where did that come from?
Oh,
After
so
all our
highly of
Muskegon
I
talk?
really do think a lot of Muskegon. I really do. But I'm just concerned about if there's kids still out. Because, yes, they did take care of Lowell, but that was 14-0 at halftime of that game without their – like, Muskegon was without a lot of guys in that game. Are they? If they're all back, then, yeah, I think they're going to take care of business. But
Shane's
if they're
gonna
not,
punch you square in the face next
that
time
would
he
hurt,
sees you.
too.
Yeah.
Whitehall at Cadillac. I mean, this is just. I got to homer it up here. 8-2.
Go.
Honestly, I would have been so on the fence. And then after you and I had the conversation about what Meekoff's reporter said, it influenced me a little bit.
Yeah.
To lean the other way. I haven't seen Cadillac, so I got to go Whitehall on this one.
I got Whitehall too.
I'm going Whitehall. I am.
Yeah. Oak Ridge at Howard City.
Oak Ridge.
Oak Ridge.
Yeah. Oak
You could be
Ridge.
bold and take Howard City, Zach. We know you won't.
I
but-
got to go with my gut, man. That's what it is. Montague at Reed City. This is
Oh,
another just
Jeez,
absolute.
you guys go first. This one might tear my heart out.
Yeah,
so.
I'm gonna go Montague. We talked a lot about the evidence of against their defense against the T. So
Yeah.
it's hard to argue, how they've played. Gonna go
Yeah.
Montague.
I like Montague, and it's, granted, it's not the Pat Collins Montague anymore, but that's not a knock on Justin. I think he's done a nice
Yeah.
job against a very tough schedule.
Yeah.
I just think these kids have been through so many big games that they're not going to be phased taking that field, and I just think that they got some ways that they maybe could, utilize their advantages and maybe create some issues for Reed City, I think.
Yep.
Boy. I don't know. I'm gonna take Montague, but I'm gonna put them on upset alert. It's not really an upset because they got a worse record, but
Well, I mean,
loss alert. I think.
yeah.
Again, I said it before. I could see him winning by 2-3 scores. I really could. I think if this goes into a scoring fest, Montague wins it all day. I think if Montague can't score, and they've done that at times. Ravenna, like a couple other games where they just the throws were there that they just didn't make the plays. But I like Montague in this one. I think they're gonna win.
Yeah. We're all in agreement there, which kind of surprised me. I honestly thought we might be different there. Ravenna at Muskegon Catholic Central. This is another toss-up. I'm going to go Muskegon Catholic Central, but I really don't like, underestimating Ravenna. I mean, there's a lot to be said about their losses this year and how well they've played. So I'm going to go MCC, but in a close one.
I'm never going to be allowed into the village anymore, or the high school or anything, and they're never going to let
No
me.
more burgers at the tavern.
No,
Scott.
man, I might have to rethink this pick. Now, I think just to put my impartiality on, we're in the impartial hat. I think I got to go with Catholic in this one. I mean, like I said earlier, I do like what Ravenna's shown in some tough games, and they continue to battle. I like that a lot. But I just think Muskegon Catholic is somewhat on a mission this year after facing Montague last year and kind of got taken to them in that game a little bit. And,
A little bit.
Quite a bit. Yeah. I was trying to be nice,
I know.
but that was a special Montague team.
It was. They
You're
were
not
good.
going to see
Yeah,
those
for
type
sure.
of teams
Yeah.
come through. Catholic's got a. I wouldn't say this is a special Catholic team, but it's a very good one,
Yeah.
and I think they got a chance to make a bit of a run here.
Yeah, I
Well-
love the clutch factor that they have. Like I think
Yeah,
that,
they've won some close games.
you know, I think that also gives them a little edge. Go ahead, though. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I'll buy burgers when we're in Ravenna next time because I'm taking the dogs all the way. I got them. Yeah.
All right.
I like me some BB. You guys
Yeah,
know that.
yeah.
You know, so
Wait a minute. We got to clarify. Kyle or
no,
Brian?
I do not like. No, I'm just kidding. I like them both. I think Kyle's a special type of player, and I like the grit of Ravenna. I'm a grit guy, so like, I think that I think they could go into Muskegon Catholic and they could upset them, and so that's who I got.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would be like shocked by that.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's going to be a really good game. I honestly do. And the last one, Muskegon Heights at Carson City Crystal. Again, this is a rematch. I'm going Carson City Crystal, but great season so far for Muskegon Heights, and I hope they do make it a close game for sure.
It's generally tough to duplicate. Like if you've beaten a team, especially recently,
Yeah.
that much. It's happened where you've had a team, and we brought it up on the First and 10 show where several years back, Oak Ridge just pounded North Muskegon in the regular season, like 60-6 or something like that, and then North Muskegon turned around and won 21-14 in the playoffs. I don't see that same thing happening here. I like Carson City Crystal, but Heights is a team that rides on confidence. If they can get a couple things going early, they might be able to make it at least interesting this
They
time.
can score. I mean,
they
that's yeah.
Put up 60 points, 60 plus points last week.
Yeah.
There's something to be said about that for
Yep.
sure.
I got Carson City in this one too. I just don't think it's.
Well, some crazy matchups. I'm surprised we were in agreement. I mean, with everyone except for the Ravenna pick, I think we were in agreement. I really thought you would take Cadillac, and I really thought you would take Reed City. Honestly.
No, man, and that's so tough. Which one do like? If you were to ask me which one I feel stronger about, that's a tough question too because, again, which teams are we going to
shows
get?
up? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the like. If good Montague and good Whitehall show up, I think these are easy wins for both of them. I think if bad Montague, bad Whitehall show up, I think they could get shellacked. Both of them
Did you
too.
guys
Like,
see what's lurking next week? Let's
I
say
did.
all three tri-champions of the conference win. Oak Ridge, Montague, Whitehall. Did you see what they got possibly
I
waiting
did.
for them?
No.
Oak Ridge. Well, let's start in the big school. Whitehall. They would have.
They're gonna play
They're
Unity.
staring down Unity Christian.
Oh boy.
Oak Ridge is staring down Grandpa's Catholic probably, or West Catholic, the winner of that
one
game.
two.
Either one.
And then Montague's staring down Lansing Catholic probably.
Yeah.
So
Can you imagine?
So I'm sorry.
I know where you're going
So
with
I'm
this.
sorry. I'm just trying to.
I know
I'm
where you're
trying to
going.
understand here.
Here we go.
There's a lot of Catholic at the end of those, and a lot of those Catholic schools they're parochial schools, right? Like not public. So,
Oh, we're ending it the same way.
same way. No,
Back to square one.
Yeah, no, they're gonna. All those teams are gonna. Those are juggernauts. I mean,
Yeah.
like they're gonna have to play well, and I think we all talked about that at the beginning of the year too. Like, there's some good teams, but was there a team that was just like Montague last year?
Last year, I
right?
think
Like,
we all knew Montague was
Yeah, I
probably
mean-
gonna
Yeah.
run the table.
Yeah, I mean, in Montague, I mean, you look at what Montague did in the playoffs last year. I mean, they played 4 or 5 of the top 5-6 teams in the division,
Yeah.
and just there wasn't even a game. Like, so I just don't know that there's a team like that. I wouldn't surprise me for Whitehall to beat one of those teams. I mean, the Whitehall would have to play. It'd have to be good Whitehall, and they'd have to play their best. But
I
like,
just think Unity's just.
yeah, Unity's tough. I mean,
And I agree too, but I also think that about. I think highly of Montague in that way too. And now, granted,
I agree.
they don't have the same team they had last year, but I just like that experience, and they just tend to get it done this time of year. And you know that's the beauty of it. That's why you play the games. You never know what's going to happen. They would all be facing a tall order next week, but that's why you got to go out and play it. That's what I love about it.
It's true.
So the way we all picked, there would be a few district champions coming out on Friday night from the
True.
West Michigan Conference.
True.
You'd see, of course, I picked Ravenna, so I got more district champions from the West Michigan Conference. But yeah, that would be good.
What I'm trying to win is the picks with our CatchMark crew, and I can't catch this guy because he keeps copying my picks every week.
I literally did before him just now, and he still somehow isn't okay with my picks.
How far behind are you,
Wait.
Scott?
I think I'm 2 games behind
Literally
him.
2 games.
When I looked last week, I was like,
oh,
oh, I was 11-1, awesome. And then I'm like, there are like 4 people who went 12-0. I'm like, tools, like. So no, that's good.
It's just tough in general, and
So let's recap. We got you're going to Reed City.
Yep.
You're going to Whitehall Cadillac.
mm-hmm.
We got Jeff at
Shores,
Caledonia.
We have a potential photographer at Muskegon Catholic Central.
Okay.
Ravenna.
Yep.
And then we got a potential photographer at Muskegon.
Okay.
So we've got a lot of them covered in one way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of them.
Cool.
Exciting.
Cross country going on this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Saturday at MIS.
We got some West Michigan Conference teams in that too, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure. I know obviously of the Montague runner that qualified.
Kale Coppice, yeah.
Kale Coppice. I haven't looked at who else is running, but I do know that it's.
Well,
obviously,
I think
Hearts
boys and
girls
girls
are going for a
yeah.
fifth straight state title. The boys are trying to get a state title. They were second last year.
Yeah.
It's just what they've got going on there at Hart is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, not surprising, but still amazing.
The funniest part is so my youngest son Noah runs, and even at the junior high levels, they're still good, man. Like
wow.
it's like it's seriously it's pretty amazing that they got his older sister runs on Hart's girls varsity, Jazwinski.
No, that's the thing.
Bobby, he's amazing. He's a 7th grader. You know, like
there's a Jazwinski boy that's there.
Yeah, Bobby.
Because
Yeah.
the sister, the girls are freshmen.
Yeah,
She's
like
been
a top
winning.
three.
She's been winning a lot of the varsity stuff. Allison Enns, who's
Yeah.
a sophomore now, who dominated last year as a
yep.
freshman.
Allison is amazing too.
They got a good battle between those two, and then you got Adriana, who's a senior, who's trying to keep up with them.
Yeah, Bobby, I want to say there was and again, I didn't validate this rumor, but there's a rumor going around that as a 6th grader, he ran the fastest cross run, nationally.
Wow.
And he won every single race.
So is
this year.
is that Katie and Bob? Is that the parents?
I think so. Yeah.
Now Katie, I was at the Spring Lake Invite a couple weekends ago. She was like, you have I'm trying to think of her daughter's name, the freshman, Jazwinski. What her first
I
name
can't
is right
remember
now.
her name.
But she was way out
Yeah,
in front of the pack, and Allison Enns didn't run that day because she's trying to nurse kind of a little bit of an injury she had going on. Well, Katie was like not far behind her daughter, like ahead of the other runners, running with her, running behind her the whole way.
Oh yeah, I think I believe she was a Division I runner.
I think she was an All-American at U of M, maybe.
Yeah, she ran
all Big Ten at least. I know.
Well, I mean that's the same thing when you look at the Ackley side. I mean Kathy Ackley ran at Michigan State. Like she was there's some Calvin, their uncle or dads. I mean there's just a whole crew of family there, but they seem to pull these other kids out too, like. That really fill it out really well too. Like I mean, they've got some runners on the boys' side that, they're all the boys' group is really all tough. I mean, they're all 16 to 18, minutes, and they've got like 6 or 7 of them. And you're like, where do they keep pulling these kids from? So it'll be interesting. Yeah, I didn't know many of the other boys from the around the conference, like who's going and what. But you've been down there, right? For the
I haven't been. I've been a lot of places covering stuff, but I have not been there.
I don't know. I don't like it. It seems like it'd be really cool because it's at the Speedway, but it's a really weird kind of, I don't know, not great to watch.
Why they decided on that? How they ever landed on that?
I don't know. My grandpa's from around that area, so we're aware of it. But like getting down there, Connor went. It was 2 years ago when the Montague boys went. Connor was part of that team, my oldest son, and I didn't really care for the setup and the whole 9 yards. So again, cross is a weird sport. You kind of like a certain kind of track and.
Sure.
And of course, you got Vanderkooi that'll be competing now. You saw her at the GMA,
she was
right?
amazing. What a great not just a great runner, but a good kid.
She is.
Personable in the interview and just our priorities in the right place and and she cracked me up too because she won the GMA by a landslide.
Yeah, she's legit.
And she's like, well, I said, and of course I'm a little naive. I'm like, I know she's fast. I'm like, were you close? And she goes, no. Then I looked, and she was 2 minutes off her PR.
And she's been nursing some injuries the last couple of years too, and that's the shame is that I think she would have legitimately been threatening a state record this year for potentially lowest time.
Yeah.
But she's been kind of having to scale it back a little. She's a senior now. Yeah. But.
Yeah. She's amazing though. I mean,
she's a great kid. You're right. I mean, she's bubbly. she's been interviewed enough now, so she's
Yeah,
comfortable with that.
she was cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, I remember watching that. It's pretty cool.
We
Yeah,
came
that's
in.
really
It was kind of funny. We came into Allendale on Saturday because we went and watched the boys. We watched Kale run, and I didn't get an article out. Had some stuff going on. So, but as Karen and I were driving in, we're probably a mile away from Allendale High School, and she's out pre-running. She's sprinting. I said there she is. And I'm like, Kara goes, what's she doing? I'm like, she's running before she runs. She's warming up. And she goes, she's a long ways away from the high school. And I'm like, there's something not right about runners sometimes. I really, like, they just love to run, you know? I got
Kind of
funny
like vampires, aren't
yeah,
they?
they kind of are. They
Same
kind of
deal.
are. I got stories about the Ackley kids and the Ends kids. Like, they go to our church, so we go to lock-in, right? And, like, there's big basketball court. Those kids do nothing but play tag and run around this facility. It's crazy, man. I'm
Well,
like,
that's what, yeah,
I get tired watching them.
We recently interviewed Adriana Enns for
Oh,
a story
yeah.
that we're working on, and she talked about how the family gets together, and there's like 20-some cousins.
Oh, yeah.
They get together for Super Bowls and stuff. The adults are watching the game. The kids would go outside and play tag.
Then we wonder why they're leading the area and
Yeah,
or
They're nuts.
maybe the state.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a throwback type situation, too,
No,
it feels
it's-
like, you know?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah.
Super cool though.
Mm-hmm.
Exciting.
All right, what else we got? Anything else going on?
Volleyball later this week, and then we have cross country. So that's pretty much it.
Getting ready for basketball time.
I know we're gearing up.
That's coming.
I know, it's exciting. It really is.
Should be good. Should be fun.
Absolutely.
So,
Anything else, anybody?
no, I think I'm good.
I think that'll do it. That'll wrap us up.
All right, Zach.
Thank you for tuning in to the CatchMark SportsNet podcast, and stay tuned for another episode next week. As long as you guys are still enjoying doing this.
Hey, we're having a ball.
Billy, man, you up for it next week?
Oh, I'm good.
What's the poll numbers look like, Billy?
I'm losing.
Oh,
Come
But
on.
well, are you in third losing or are you losing?
If you're not first, you're last.
polls come out at 8 tonight, which this episode we're pre-recording, so it'll come out tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody will already know if I won or lost while they're listening.
Oh, man. All right.
Wow.
Well, good luck to you, Billy.
Absolutely.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Good luck to Billy, and
We'll pull 'em for you.
we're hoping for a council member as our production crew. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Thanks.